Hey there, and welcome back to TUF Coffee Shop Talk. I'm your host, Rhonda Lavoie, and you're listening to another episode in our TUF Tech Tips series. In previous episodes, I've walked you through Gmail and Google Calendar, plus showed you how going paperless with Google Drive can transform your business, and the ins and outs of a great CRM. Today, we're continuing our journey through the essential apps that help me close 40 transactions without an assistant. In today's episode, we're diving into Folio, the ultimate client and transaction management tool I rely on to stay focused and keep my clients informed. With Folio, I can effortlessly track every step of the buyer and seller process, ensuring nothing gets missed and my clients enjoy a smooth, stress-free journey. Whether you're looking for a smarter way to manage your transactions or elevate your client's experience, this is an episode you won't want to miss. Remember, this series is all about working smarter, not harder. These are the actual tools I use every day to stay organized, communicate effectively, and generate more business in my real estate career. If you've missed our previous episodes or want to get ahead of the game, I've created a free download with details on all 5 apps I'll be covering in this series. The link is in the show notes, so be sure to grab your copy, and start implementing these strategies right away. But first, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And if you're enjoying the content, I'd be incredibly grateful if you click the 5th star and leave a rating. Not only does it make my day when you do it, but it helps other agents discover the podcast so I can help more people transform their businesses. But for now, let's dive right in. So just like a lot of the other apps that I use, they all integrate with Google. It's just the solution that I've chosen. And Folio is no different. Folio is embedded in my Gmail. It can also be as a part of Google Drive. So they all work really well together. And ultimately, what you do with Folio is you create a smart folder and you create it for each client. And within that smart folder is a templated checklist, so to speak, a list of tasks that need to be done. And depending on the type of client will depend on what task list is assigned. So if you have a buyer, it'll be this task list. If you have a seller, it'll be a different task list. And within that folder, you can see all sorts of really cool information about that client. You can see documents, you can see emails, you can see make notes and have conversations in there. You can have different contacts depending on who you're working with. And those contacts can even be service providers, lawyers, other agents, etc. And it's ultimately a big picture of what is happening with that client. So how I use it is I create, let's talk about a buyer as an example. So I have a buyer that's ready to go start looking at properties. I will create, as soon as we're going to go meet in person for the very first time at the very first house, I'll create the folder for that client and enter in tasks, so add a task for that showing. And then I'll share this folder with the client. And what's really cool about it is there's a portal on the other side, like a dashboard, so to speak, that only they can see, and they only see their information. And it will show that, hey, we're going to go see this house tomorrow at 2:00, and it'll give the address and whatever other details that I put in there. And as we go through the process, so we look at multiple houses, I'll add multiple showings in there. It keeps them very informed so that I don't have to be keeping them informed in other ways. And then once we get to the point that we're writing a contract, we'll flip it to under contract. And it does this really cool thing where it brings in all these tasks, and the tasks aren't just mine, they're both. So there'll be tasks that are specifically for me. For instance, I have certain forms that I need to ensure that I do. I need to remember to do Fin Tracker. I need to remember to do transaction record. I need to remember to upload to SkySlope and schedule the home inspection, send the documents to the lender, etc., etc., etc. There's, probably 40 different tasks or whatever that come in automatically. And what I really love about Folio is you can actually attach dates and you anchor them to a date. So for instance, there's certain things that I need to do as soon as we have an accepted offer. So I need to ensure that I have these forms. I need to send it to everything to the lender, give the client all the documents, etc. But then at condition deadline, I have different sets of tasks that I need to do that are around that date. And possession date, there's different tasks around that. So you create an anchor for that date, and then the tasks that are anchored to it will be scheduled out based on that, so that it creates this nice, tidy timeline for me so that I can stay on top of multiple clients at one time. And this is one of the big reasons why I'm able to do so many transactions without having an assistant, because this system is here to ensure I'm staying on top of everything. And then on the other side, on the client dashboard, it's really cool because you can assign, as soon as you assign the address to it, it brings in an image of that address. So on their dashboard, they can see what it looks like specifically for them. It shows them the tasks that they are needing to do or the upcoming events. It shows the service providers that they're working with. So you'll enter in, who is their lender, their attorney, the home inspector, the insurance company, all of the different resources that they're using. You'll put that there. They can actually click on them and it'll give them their phone number and email address. It just really keeps them informed so that they know what it is that they need to do and by when. And I've had lots of really great feedback from clients saying that this was extremely helpful for them to feel confident with what they need to do and how the process is going, and that it's just felt really, really smooth. The things I love about it for me as an agent is it keeps me organized. I have no question what it is that I need to be doing, and I can see what I need to know in the apps I'm using all the time. So I can see in calendar as an example. So these tasks that are due will show up in my calendar. And if I've done them, there'll be a check mark beside them. If they are not done, they do not have a check. If I have meetings, that actually goes right into my calendar. So I can see, okay, I'm showing, Bob houses on Wednesday at 3:00. It shows that block right in my calendar so that I can ensure that I'm not overbooking myself. It's a super helpful way for me to manage my time. Because like I said in a previous episode, if it's not in my calendar, it does not exist, and it will not get done. And by automatically going into my calendar, it's something that I just don't have to do. It's automatically there. Now back in Gmail, it's in there as well. So if I have a new client, say I'm emailing back and forth and we're to the point where we want to start going to look at houses, right in Gmail, I can click on create smart folder and it asks me a handful of questions and it creates that folder for me in Folio. Or if I'm emailing from my email with the client, it shows the Folio folder on the right hand side of the screen so I can see some of the key details. So I don't have to, switch over to another session to go see what's going on in Folio. I can see right there, they have a deposit due on this date and possession's going to be at this time. And it just gives me all the information all in one place. It's fantastic. The combination of the integrations with Gmail, Calendar, and Drive was one of the reasons that I went with this, but I also loved the ability to anchor things to dates, because then when that checklist comes in or that task list comes in, it's broken down into the bite-sized pieces that make sense for real estate. Again, like that offer acceptance, possession day, inspection, etc. It really helps me stay on top of everything at the right time. Because obviously you can have a checklist, say just even a piece of paper that says, these are all the things you need to do when you have a buyer, but they happen in chunks, right? Like the things you do right after that you have an accepted offer are very different than the things you do after you've removed conditions. as an example. So having the ability to have those dates and have those dates drive the tasks was super important for me. And Folio does that, which is fantastic. And I do see that Folio has been acquired by Inside Real Estate. So I suspect we'll also see it start to integrate with things like SkySlope, which, will be helpful because we also use that at EXP. So one more integration will be extra helpful. It's ultimately those integrations save you time and clicks so that you can get the task done a lot faster. Well, that concludes the episode. That's everything I had to tell you about Folio. Obviously, there's a lot to Folio, and if you're interested in learning more about it, just by all means reach out to me. I'm happy to help. I'd love to teach people the tools that I use to create the efficiencies and, help you get to the point where you can do multiple transactions without an assistant or, scale your business. Thanks so much for being here. It really does mean a lot to me. If you haven't already, please subscribe or hit that follow button, as I'd love it if you came back week to week. If you're looking for more information on the membership, you can check it out at tufinstitute.com, which is tufinstitute.com. And if you want more information on me and my real estate business, you can check out rhondalavoie.exprealty.com. Look for me on my socials. I'm on Instagram at rhondalavoie_tough, and just as my name on Facebook. So Rhonda Lavoie on Facebook. Reach out anytime. I'd love to hear from you. And I really hope you have a marvelous day, and I can't wait to bring you another episode next week.